Well, let's talk about all the shiz in three, two, one.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. That is not how it is supposed to go, sir.
It
You're now
goes.
supposed to start it in three, two, one.
No, now I started in three, two, one. Okay, go
I'm
ahead and start it.
waiting.
In. You can start it.
I'm waiting.
Ooh, one.
Hello, everybody, and thanks for tuning in to the Kingsley Messes Up podcast.
Now, this is episode 193.
And three, two, one. Now you can go.
Hello, everyone, and thanks for tuning in to episode 193 of the Guardian Hub podcast, where I'm not quite as excited as Cyn, but almost there. And how you doing tonight, Cyn?
Magical as always, sir. How about you?
Good. We are recording on New Year's Day, 1/1/23. And
All the ones.
yeah, slightly different evening. I did not realize that on our normalish recording time of Thursdays, it was my anniversary. And it's not like we always have to celebrate on exactly that evening, but other evenings weren't going to be as good. So I'm like, okay, I'm moving things around.
And it was the last week of the month for me, so I would have been late anyway, even if I could have made it.
Yeah. Yeah, good point. Good point. But because of that's just me and you tonight. And but we're going to be talking about some miscellaneous things that I've had on my mind, a couple news stories, what we think of some things. I mean, quite a lot has happened since the last time we recorded, which was on an off night also with Dan Finity. If you haven't listened to that episode, please go back and listen to 192, an excellent episode. But we've had all sorts of things like the Exotic Commission come out and all sorts of things, which we'll get to in a second. But first of all, I'm starting my evening with a drink that tastes kind of like Dr. Pepper. I saw a mix of it. Basically, you can take a Corona and put in a little bit of Disaronno. It's an Italian liqueur that Amaretto flavored. And that stuff alone almost tastes like Dr. Pepper, but you know when you add it with the Coors, it gets carbonated, just like a light beer or something. And so the idea is you just drink down a teeny amount of the beer and then put in the liqueur, and now it tastes like a hard Dr. Pepper. Pretty tasty.
Did you see that on TikTok? Because I swear I've seen that on TikTok.
My wife found it. I think it was TikTok, but I think I've heard about this before. I just didn't put much thought into it until she sent me the thing. So you saw it on TikTok?
I did. Now that you were telling me about it, it reminds me of that. And I can't remember. I think it's this guy that always like tries these drinks that is like anybody who comments says, try this. He tries it.
Yeah. Well, this one's pretty good. And I'm not even the biggest fan of Dr. Pepper anyways, but I had a couple of these the other night, and a nice handy way to just feel like you're drinking a beer, but get a little more wasted, if that makes sense, than just a beer, because it has a fair amount of, the other stuff in it too.
True.
Yeah, and then that way it tastes better than just a beer too. I'm not the biggest fan of just beers, but this gives a very good flavor to it. Yeah. So if any of you have tried this before or anything similar or know other good beer mixtures, let us know.
For sure.
And what's new with you? You're saying before the show, end of month shenanigans with end of year also. I mean, gosh, we're in a new year.
End of month, end of year, scramble, work 6 days. The only day I left early was Wednesday, and it was still at 7 o'clock. I might as well just work the whole day that day anyway. And then was late leaving a few days. We're supposed to close at 6 on Saturday, but didn't leave out of there until 7:30, 7:45. So New Year's Eve, I didn't get home until almost 9. So needless to say, I did not stay up and watch the ball drop. I went to bed.
Why? Do you have to get up at 6 the next morning?
No, I was exhausted.
Okay. Drink a coffee or something. Come on, man.
Nah, the oldest daughter had some friends over too, and I wasn't all about that.
Well, I don't watch the ball drop anyways. To me, that's absurd. But I don't know. I just didn't. Just normal anyways. I never go to bed before midnight.
That's me normally, but I laid down and I was
on
like,
the one night where most people stay up, you go to bed early.
Yeah, I mean it's the same. And then I heard the Miley Cyrus one was like a minute late.
Ooh,
did anybody else watch that?
cares?
Yeah, it was like 12 o'clock and they were still singing like a song or something on that pre-show special. And the ball drop count was like apparently late.
Don't know. But I'll tell you, 2 nights ago, I was getting really worried that I was getting sick again and starting to get some anxiety over it because when I got COVID back in September, it was pretty bad until I, took some Paxlovid, which helped it a bit. And I was getting really bad stuffy nose and a little bit of like drainage in my throat, but no sore throat. So I'm like, okay, this is a little odd, but way crazy stuffy nose. I'm like, this has got to be some kind of cold or something because it wasn't normal. And I usually have slight allergy issues anyways, but so that's why I can usually tell if a cold's coming on because it's different. And just getting all anxious and stuff. And then did take some, some of that strong antihistamine stuff and whatever and knocked myself out, went to bed. Next morning, woke up pretty much okay. When I put 2 and 2 together afterwards, I think it was because of eating some salmon that evening, some leftovers of my wife's dinner. I love salmon, and I'm not allergic to fish in general, but I've heard this of a few other people too. For some reason, salmon fish kind of does me in, and usually it's like stomach issues, right? But I have had issues where sometimes it almost feels like the more almost dangerous allergy issues where your throat kind of feels weird and starts not mine is never like tightened up like, oh no, like I need to go to the emergency room or something, but it can cause like upper respiratory issues too, and I kind of forgot about that. And so I think the salmon was causing major stuffy nose and allergy issues, and I didn't put 2 and 2 together really right away, but I'm glad that's all it was because I'm not sick. 2 days later, I mean, the stuffy nose and unless it was like the most mild cold ever, and all there was a stuffy nose and nothing else, no other symptoms. But
right, yeah. Death by a salmon. Got it.
Death by salmon. I know. I love salmon. I was talking to shout out to All Thumbs. We were playing some earlier, and salmon's big up where he lives. He goes salmon fishing, and we were talking about smoked salmon. I love that stuff. It's like candy to me, and it's kind of sad how it can affect me some. But I'm not even sure if all types do, so I'm gonna do some tests and see. But
you should.
Anyways, does anything, not like foods you don't like, but is there anything that you have intolerances to or allergies to?
Not really food-wise. I have grass allergies. That's about it. But nice. I am very picky when it comes to eating.
That's why you get that qualifier because, yeah. See, and I'm not picky. I'll eat anything, and then it sucks. I'm slightly intolerant to dairy, so some not like true lactose intolerance, but if I have a lot, I can have issues. And then the salmon, but nothing else, as far as I'm aware.
Well, you should get that fixed.
You can't. Well, maybe you can. There's some talk about things, but all right, let's get into Destiny talk. What's new? Live update. What are you doing? Oh, I'm going to join you in the tower.
Oh, yep. I am in the tower. I'm cleaning up Postmaster, just doing a couple random things. I was doing Catch Crash, Triumph hunting, as we were talking a little bit before the show. I got my Brave Tech back up and running, and just kind of messing around and doing some random stuff.
Okay, well, let's talk about, since we last had an episode, the Operation Seraph Shield exotic mission came out, and whoa, is it fun. I know it seems like this may be old news, Cyn. It's been on a couple of weeks. We probably run it a lot, but we haven't talked about it yet. So what are your thoughts on it?
The mission is actually, I like it. I like the DSC-esque vibe, the DSZ vibe. A lot of DSC components in there. I think, and I know we talked about this a little bit off our show, a little bit on GDC, from the week prior, but I actually like this a little bit better than I do the dungeon. So
yeah,
I've enjoyed it, and then spent some time since shooting giant beach balls in the air and going on that fun hunt for the puppy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm going to talk about all this. Now, since you bring up the one thing, there's actually an article that, let me bring this up here, titled, sorry, I wasn't quite ready yet.
For shame.
Destiny 2 players like the Revision Zero exotic quest more than Spire of the Watcher dungeon. I mean, why do you think that is? It may be a little obvious, but do you have any, if you could put in a couple sentences why you like it better than the dungeon?
The dungeon's okay, right? The dungeon's got some cool mechanics. It's a little bit different. I don't know. There's just something about it to me that doesn't draw me back to it. For me, the Garden of Salvation Harpy boss, that encounter seems a little obnoxious. So does the end encounter with the boss, with the giant yeet turkey. That is a little obnoxious as well. You have to do a lot of mechanics to be able to do damage, and then damage seems to take forever. I honestly couldn't imagine soloing that. I think I would quit if I had to do 5, 6, 7 damage phases on those bosses.
Yeah, there's a couple things going on. You can't even equate them exactly together, because obviously the dungeon is harder, meant for 3 players, although dungeons are always meant for soloing too, but really it's kind of meant for 3 at first until you get used to it. And this mission on normal mode, for sure you can run solo. You totally can. Even Legend, you can run solo pretty easily, because this mission isn't necessarily hard. I know some people have struggled getting through it and things like that, but I'm saying in comparison to everything out there, it's kind of funny we're even comparing this, right? Because how often has a dungeon and a big exotic mission come out this close to each other, right? I feel like usually things are a little more spaced out. Yeah. And that's why we're probably even comparing this at all. It's kind of unfair in a way. But I do agree. I mean, the point isn't to say necessarily this is better than the dungeon, but the point is even to say this exotic mission is just so fun. I think that's kind of what we're getting at here. And it is kind of sad that they put them close together. Me too. I would way rather run the exotic mission with people over and over again than the dungeon. I'm already kind of done with the dungeon. I've gotten a complete set of armor. I haven't gotten the exotic weapon from it yet, but I feel like already, and this is kind of a problem again, we have so many exotics in the game. So unless we hear this one's amazing right now, I'm not in a rush to get it.
Much of malice, just saying. Speaking of, on the talking about exotics, rated, I think, what was it? It's Friday night, maybe. Ran Batman was in there, Ed, Ninja, Gato, and Batman. We ran the full DSC. He ended up getting the exotic from that. We ran a checkpoint for Atheon. He got Vex Mythoclast. We ran a checkpoint for Vow Disciple. He got Collective Obligation. And then we ran a checkpoint for Kingsfall. He didn't get Touch, and neither did I. So big sad. but that was some crazy RNG getting 3 exotics in a row.
Yeah, I think I heard about that. Nice luck to him. But yeah, on the mission, a couple things. Okay, so like shout out Big Tex, formerly Fast Spectrum, in our live chat. He has a question on the topic of the exotic mission. Do you like that the weapon can be built up week over week, or would you prefer that it not be time gated in this manner? Any opinion on that first, and then I'll go.
With how complex what they're doing is with the multiple, basically, catalyst perks that you can have for that. I think the time gate in this instance is not awful. So I'm kind of hit or miss when it comes to time gates, right? I think this one, I think it's fair to put the time gate in there so that way you're not knocking all 4 out at once. One, it gives you time to try out the catalyst perk in there each time you acquire it. Get them all 4 at once. For those like me who don't grind for it, probably a little bit difficult to grind all 4 and then try them out relatively quick. I think the time gating in this, because it's 4 catalyst, is probably okay.
Yeah, I do too. And in this case, I'm really okay with them time gating it out. Everything has been paced so well this season. In fact, they've been spoiling us, and this is really dangerous because we've had a dungeon, an exotic mission. The seasonal camp stories are amazing also, and then everything's like integrated perfectly together. This exotic mission, we know there's going to be a few more weeks of different catalysts, and we have a few more weeks of the story too. So everything's kind of just like grouping together. Great. And then I'm a little worried in 3 more weeks when it shows that all that's going to be done, what's going to be happening in mid-January through the end of February until the new DLC comes out, and maybe a little chirp like other seasons. But even that being said, this season has been, and I liked the pirate stuff, but this season has been amazing how everything's played together, played out. We've gotten spoiled, like I said, with a lot of content. Yeah, I mean, I think time getting it is fine. I wanted to talk about, well, I'll go to one other story topic that's been in the news and people have talked about in our communities, and then I wanted to give a couple details about the mission.
Fair.
But from what we are assuming right now with what Bungie has told us, this will probably, unless they tell us something different last minute, this should be going away February 28th, whenever that date is, where Lightfall comes out, because all seasonal content that's not part of the actual DLC goes away at the end of the Destiny year. And so this has brought up an interesting topic. People say this shouldn't go away because it's so good. And this has been really interesting too, because in the past when we've had exotic missions like Presage, or Presage, gosh, now I'm saying it. Because, we had a whole thing on that, the correct way
that
to say it.
Emphasis on the right syllable.
Yeah, I mean, Presage at least was around for a very long time before it went away. But this could be going away soon. Probably. We have to assume for now.
Right. I hope they don't, because it is, like you said, a short time frame. It would be a good opportunity if they were going to pull it out of the map as it sits. The Legend tab could ultimately house the stuff that they're going to stick around that may not have a place on the map otherwise.
I'm sure it's got to go away, though, because they remember, like, it's actually, well, it doesn't have to, but to even get to it, you have to do story quest, the weekly story things, to open it up. So if it was still around, it would just be like chirp, chirp, just there on the map, no real reason. And what they've done in the past too is the exotic weapon can still be available. Maybe it'll be in the kiosk or something, but the campaign would go away.
Right.
So a little bit interesting, a little bit sad. I think we still have to assume at this point it's going away unless we hear something within the next month or so. Even if they were planning on it going away and then they hear all this talk of people wanting to keep it and they're like, oh, everyone wants to keep it. Can we keep it in? I mean, I think it would kind of be too short a notice for them to, because they're always working on stuff between 4 to 6 months ahead of time, they said. So it'd be a little maybe kind of hard for them to keep it in also if they're planning on it going away.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they've already taken that into account. But don't they normally have a TWAB at some point and say, when we get close to season end and saying, hey, reminder, this stuff is going away? I'm sure we're still probably at least a month out before we get confirmation on that.
Well, but but they're telling us just what the specifics are. But they have told us for sure, Cyn, that all seasonal stuff, other than the weapons, does go away at the end of the Destiny year.
Right.
So we have to take their word for now. It's not like, you know what I mean? Because if they are going to keep it, they need to tell us now, because that's going against with what they said. So they might as well tell us now, because everyone wants it to stick around anyways. So I don't know. That's just how I think about it. But I think more they have to just kind of, break it to us softly. Like, well, we'll look into doing that down the road with other missions, but for now, unfortunately, it's going away.
Yeah, the Fast Spectrum Big Techs at a good point there. Wonder if related to this, they'll evolve how they treat the seasonal content to preserve certain aspects, not just the seasonal or the exotic missions, but like obtaining the craftable weapons. And I think they've put some stuff in dares and other activities like Vanguard Ops and such in the past. So,
and the exotics go in the exotic kiosk. Yeah. So I'm not worried about the weapons as much. Yeah. Well, anyways, it's an interesting topic. I'm sure we'll hear a little bit more at some point in the future. Okay. But so this mission, like you said, since DSC Lite, it's pretty amazing. I mean, sorry, a little bit of spoilers if you haven't run it yet, but if you haven't, why not? It's really fun. But we go up, we see another orbital station. This time it's above Earth, but it's very similar-ish to like the one, from the DSC raid above Europa. And we just do stuff, and it's a fun encounter. And there's so many reasons to go back in the mission, because there is collectible the yellow droids that you shoot with the exotic that you get. You go back in the mission on Legend to get the catalyst, and there's going to be, 4 different catalysts, I believe?
Correct, 4.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And only one's available this week, and then the next one will be available in each week after that.
And a couple more days from this point, really.
Yep, as from when we're recording. And it's fun. And Legend, they did the thing where they've done with a few other things where it's, fairly difficult on your own if you want to run it solo, but it actually ramps up in difficulty if you bring in 3 people. I've run it both ways, so I can test to that. The ads hit even harder when you're with 3. And in fact, we even learned going in with 3 at the end, the boss encounter, it's almost a detriment, because if your teammates die, you have the 30-second timer and only a couple revive tokens.
Yeah.
So
that part is obnoxious.
Yeah, it kind of is. So anyone listening to this, it is an interesting trade-off. You may want to try it solo on Legend and see how you do, because then at least you don't have to rely on your teammates. And I promise running it solo on Legend is not as hard as 3 people, because the difficulty, how they scale it. So if you're comfortable with your builds and staying alive, just try it on solo. The hardest part for me actually was the middle part out on the spacewalk. The Knights and the Shanks were just murking me over and over on Legend. That was annoying getting past that part. But the boss encounters, I mean, with these cool builds now, I have a really cool Arc build where I have Arc Souls, Arc Buddies like up all the time. So I have basically almost like 3 things shooting. It wasn't too bad for me staying alive on Legend.
Now, the boss encounter, do you have to worry, like if you die, does it restart you like it does with multiple people?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does. It's so if you die on solo Legend, you do have to start over the boss encounter, even if you got the boss almost all the way down.
Oof.
But that makes sense, especially for a Legend, for a, what they call a darkness zone.
Right. I get it.
Sorry for spoiling the game for you, Mohaffel. That's not true. You've been playing. Our live chat has having some fun talking about all of this.
And No Dares does not go away. That is part of the 30th anniversary pack from
which
prior
is like
to
a DLC. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. I mean, it could eventually, but I don't think it's going away on Lightfall. They would have told us by now.
No, I mean they mentioned they're not going to be vaulting any more
Oh, that's
content at
right.
this point other than
Yeah.
seasonal.
Yeah.
So, being that it was outside of seasonal actual content, you'll be fine.
That is true. Thank you, Sin. All right. And then one more amazing thing is when you shoot all the yellow security droids, what are they called?
Drones, security drones.
Drones. When you collect all 50, and some are in the mission, some are out in the world, out and about, you get to go back in the mission and go through this crazy underbelly area of the space station where we were jumping around like a jumping puzzle. It wasn't that hard, but it was a lot of fun. And what do we get at the end, Sin?
A robot dog pet.
A robot dog pet that if
Pet.
Sin and me go
Yeah.
back to the helmet at the same time and try to pet it at the same time, Sin's
Oh,
body
that
wigs out
was
and slams me against the wall and then I die.
Insane. Yes, I remember that. Petting the dog at the same time.
Uh-huh.
The game was freaking out, and you got yeeted. And
I got yeeted.
Yeah,
And then it was
basically
like
got
guardian
yeeted.
down in the helm.
Oh man, if I was recording, I would have posted a clip of that. It was
We
great.
should have. We need to try that again, actually.
Must duplicate.
Yeah.
But yes, that jumping puzzle wasn't awful. I think it was a fun little, nice little aspect to that part. After actually finding all the beach balls, so yeah, I think it's definitely not as bad as Whisper was. If anybody
No.
who's played during the Whisper of the worm, timed mission, it's not that bad. You can easily find your way, and it is not that long. You're definitely not timed, so
Yeah, we
Yeah,
have a few
was
people in the
good.
chat that have gotten it already, so you can tell us what you think. But still a lot of fun. Well worth getting. There's still probably people out there that haven't really heard of this yet or aren't aware. Technically, we're not really supposed to get this until this upcoming weekend because there's two unlocks. There's the unlock for the door puzzles where you shoot through things on the wall. And then there's the unlock where you can go through the laser beams. But community has been figuring out that you can get past the laser beams with like Blink or Icarus Dash, which doesn't work as good, which I was trying, or Titan Shoulder, charge or things like that. So
Now there is a workaround for you Icarus Dashers.
well,
Have
Blink
a
is the
Titan.
workaround. Oh, yeah, that's true.
Have a Titan shoulder charge you through. Apparently that
Yes.
works.
That works. Yep. Mm-hmm.
That makes me known for being the shoulder charger. That makes me important now.
It does. Or you can also use like sword, eager edge type stuff. There's a lot of ways, but yeah, you were very helpful with getting me through to certain areas and reviving my ghost. You can thunder crash through. Yeah, I mean, you'd have to charge up your super each time, but they're not right next to each other. So if you do it for each one, then that works pretty well. Thumbs. Thanks for that.
And that would
I
also
mean-
require Kingsley playing a Titan.
Yeah, so hunters, is their option mostly just going to be the sword then, probably? Because Titans and Warlock have options to get through without the sword, but I don't know.
Don't
about
they have
hunters.
that one blink ability with the stasis?
Sure. I don't know. Someone tell us.
Nobody plays Hunter.
People play Hunter. It's my second most favorite. But yeah, these builds on Titan and Warlock right now, I'm telling you, Arc is a lot of fun. I am curious, what have you been running? Are you still on an Arc build, Sin, for the most part?
No.
Oh, you aren't.
I typically run solar 90% of the time. Unless I'm
Even when the cool Arc Titan thing came out, you didn't try it out?
I run like you talking about the storm nades.
Yeah, the good build that the Titan is basically invincible and gets abilities back all the time.
Yeah, no, not really.
Yes, yeah,
I
you
prefer
obviously
solar.
have it. Hey, that's all good. I mean, that's actually helps with what I was getting at. But I know a lot of Titans have been running Arc, and I guess I was wondering, since things have settled down, because I was all about, of course, when Void was first changed, it was the only option anyways of subclass 3.0. and then
Right.
Solar came out. I didn't really like Solar at first, but okay, yeah, when Void first came out on the Warlock, with some of the changes they made, it made Void very tanky Warlock. Like you could stay alive pretty well. Like yeah, Void is where you go for recoverability or just staying alive. But then when the Solar came out, it's even more than the Void because Warlock has the 2x Solar healing nades, which no one else has, and way better staying alive on Solar Warlock than Void. And then now Arc, the survivability isn't as strong, but with Arc Souls, Arc Buddies everywhere, in essence, you're kind of staying alive because so many things are helping taking down enemies that there's less coming at you that you can't just get on your own right away. So I've been staying on Arc for now.
Would you consider that a crutch like Lorelei Titans?
No, I don't consider it crutch. I consider it fun. And when builds change, I never really complain. I just switch to something else. Or when metas change, I guess you could say, like when I was playing Warlock Solar Healing Nade, yeah, people could call that a crutch, but why not use it? Are we supposed to be gatekeeped like we're doing master raids and like you're not allowed to use the thing that keeps you alive the best? Well, why? It's in the game. Oh, you're not allowed to because you're not cool if you use the thing that.
What's the old saying? Use what you like, don't apologize.
Right. I mean, so I was obviously using Solar Healing Aid Warlock in Master King's Fall, but I am glad to be mostly on Arc now because it is a lot of fun. So Mohaf was too busy on his Titan. He keeps dying on the laser floor. Oh,
the dance floor,
the lava room.
Floor.
That's a lot of fun. Seeing people figure that out first. We were like, what's the path? I have to keep going back and looking. I'm like, I just took a picture. but even now, like I've run it enough times, I kind of have it memorized of the path on the floor. All that changes each time is the different kiosks you have to interact with. Yeah, All Thumbs likes Titan Arc, Storm Nade. See, I'm telling you, Cyn, the Arc Titan is hot.
Maybe I should go in and just mess around with it a little bit more.
Yeah, you should. No, you don't have to if you don't like to. I'm not trying to talk you into it, but I've heard so much about it that that's the point. So Arc Titan is kind of hey, now we have everyone coming out saying different opinions. Void is the best, and Cyn thinks Solar is the best. So there we go. We have equal representation on the Titans.
No stasis. I didn't hear any stasis out of that.
Who cares about stasis? Moving on.
Shout out to Kato for the new name, best bottom on the net. Congratulations, sir.
Do you think he wants that name?
He doesn't. That's not the point.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so that's pretty much it about the quest, but a lot to talk about. And we talked about the collecting the dog and how the mission is likely going away, but people don't want it to, and how people like it better than the dungeon. So
yeah, I'm in agreement with that. For sure.
For sure. Those were most of the points I wanted to talk about this week. I don't know. You said you're doing some Triumph hunting. I was working on doing strikes earlier with All Thumbs. I hate doing the resets on the vendors, and Crucible can go faster, but I hadn't done any Crucible at all, and my Zavala vendor was already on 4, so I'm like, okay, I guess I'll grind that one out some more, and I got it up to like 7 or 8 today, and so I'll work on that for the reset, just for getting the ritual seasonal weapon, the Verses X or whatever the hell that weapon's called.
Oh yes, it's a pulse, I believe. I do need to get that.
Which you need, by the way, if you want to get the seasonal Seraph title, because it's one of the stupid requirements for that. And but all the other requirements are easy, fun things, and it is time gated. We have 3 more weeks left. It looks like on the story part before anyone can get that Seraph title.
Yeah, it looks like I got some other grinding to do with Ikelos weapons and upgrades, which of course is time gated because of the weekly seasonal stuff. But other than that, resetting rank, the the pulse, Velisex, yeah,
Velsex, yeah.
yep,
And shout out to Cyn. He was a guest on Guardian Downcast recently. You didn't
yes,
win.
I didn't win. GG's Rodimus on winning.
I'm
I
just
did
glad
whiff.
that I even beat you.
You beat me last time around too.
I figured if someone beat me and Rodimus, and I'm like, it's really going to be hard for Cyn to get even higher than Rodimus. So no, but you did. You did respectable, just one below, I believe. I wonder how many people are up there kind of in that 38 level or higher. Not too many. It might just be us three. Maybe one other got like around 38, I think. So
Yeah, as long as I'm on the top 3 podium, I'm happy. I'm probably not, but
if anyone's not sure what we mean by this, is the Guardian Down podcast. Check them out. They are part of our Owl Sector Alliance. Cyn was a guest there, and you can see. Actually, I updated the list again recently. I deleted a bunch, but you can see all known Destiny podcasts if you go to destinypodcasts.com. It's kind of sad. A lot have closed up shop again.
and I don't have a tagline for that website.
No, you
Don't
don't need
worry.
one. But from what I can tell, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. That sounds like a lot, but at times we usually average like 20 to 25. So, yeah. Things happen,
Well,
things change. But hey, we're getting closer to 200 episodes.
oh my gosh, it feels like it's right around the corner. We're at 193, so really 2 months away, less than 2 months.
Yeah.
So just
Yeah.
in time for the new
Ooh,
year
Lightfall.
to Lightfall.
That is true.
When we hit 200, Lightfall drops. We'll get some new music as well.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like, okay, so here's another comment. Big Tex mentions in our live chat, he prefers the craftable seasonal pulse disparity to the ritual pulse, Veli's X. I feel like it's been that way the last few seasons. The ritual weapon, have they really been like super hot? Like, I mean, I'm sure they've been good, and people will say like, yeah, they're good, but there's so many good weapons right now. We have weapon overload. But
Yeah,
yes,
I
I
would
like
agree with that.
disparity too a lot.
You had the last couple, because you can see it on the seal progress for Moments of Triumph. The ritual weapons were Reckless Endangerment. You had your shotgun, Chain of Command, heavy machine gun, and then Crime Mutiny, grenade launcher, and then Velis Axe, your pulse. So I wasn't really a fan of, Reckless Endangerment was okay. I played a little bit of that with that in Crucible. But really, the other ones I'm not messing around with. I have Crime Mutiny on now just because I'm grinding out kills for the Moments of Triumph. Because you have to get them in playlist activities like Gambit and Vanguard to try to get the seal. You also have to do it in Crucible, which I prefer Velisex if I'm going to have to do that. So I'm not a fan of the shotgun was okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, something's interesting here in the game that there's just so much good stuff. I mean, I was even just running. Everyone's already starting to forget about Callus Mini Tool. I mean, not everyone. I'm sure a lot of people may still main it, but I was just running that again today. And I'm like, there's just so many good weapons in the game right now, and that's a good thing. But it's also kind of a bad thing if you don't know what to go for, or you can get overload. Like you can get decision paralysis. You know what I mean? Like, what should I go for?
It is definitely tough. Because then you gotta make choices on what you're going to use. If you're going to use an exotic, it may take up a slot you would normally use. Callus Mini Tool, I got that to 78. I use that a lot once I got my craftable one with enhanced incandescent on it. I really would like to get the Ikelos SMG. I'm working on trying to get that pattern now because I would like to get a craftable version of that. Because I believe you can get Volt Shot on that, right?
Yeah, that's what everyone's going for right now.
I think that would be interesting and definitely fun to use. And I've been using I was using null composure for a while, and I still have it on my Titan, and I use it when I swap out and use some other weapons. But I've been using a crafted version of Deliverance and got that up to level 56. So there's a lot of these, some of these craftable weapons I just keep on and just keep using the same ones over and over.
Yeah, yeah. Yep, there's a lot to go for, and I like how the seasonal vendor you can rank up with bounties, which is nice. It actually will give you XP for the bar also, not just overall XP. So that's a plus there.
Well, Hafo says, I don't want another hand cannon. You want the DSC hand cannon because you can get that craftable and get it with full shot.
See, another one to go after, another weapon.
And best bottom on the net, Kato wants to compare Taipan levels. I am one behind you, Kato. I'm at level 56 on the Taipan.
Ooh. And the machine guns are good too. I really like Terminus Horizon from the dungeon. I have that with Volt Shot. But I also like the retrofit Escapade, especially when I need Void. That one's really tight also. So there's a lot of good weapons, and grenade launchers are fun again because of weakened clear. So I've been running Tarnation a lot. I have my really good roll from back in Witch Queen with enhanced chain reaction field prep. And then, of course, there's Anarchy and, everything like that. So, yeah, I mean, weapons are fun. And I have yet to even try Cold Heart. Cold Heart's been buffed a little bit with getting ability chaining and everything like that. I just finally, I know, Cyn, we've been talking, I've been working my Merciless. I finally got the Catalyst done for that.
Nice.
But then again, now that I got it done, I'm like, do I use it a lot? Or do I just move on to something else? It's kind of sad.
You vault it and move on.
No, see, that's the thing. Like, yes, I'll switch for some weapons here and there, but I'm not going to go overboard. I'm not just like collecting everything and just like, oh, I get it to its level and then I just tuck it away and blah, blah, blah. I actually want to have fun in the game and use these weapons and figure out what I don't care about. And very rare has there been instances where I didn't do the work ahead of time and then I regretted it. You know what I mean? Like if there's some new meta or something, I'm not worrying about the perfect everything ahead of time or, getting rid of some weapons and then, but what if it's good down the road? I mean, there's probably something else that's also good or better that's new. You know what I mean? It's kind of, there's always something going on. So right. I can't worry about too much in the game for my play style. I want to have fun, and having fun is not work. It's not doing every single thing perfectly crafted and tucked away and having a vault that's totally full and then stressing about vault management and, whatever.
For sure.
Okay.
Question for the show from Prime. Yeah. What 5 weapons would you recommend someone buying from the exotic wall? I'm actually loading into the tower.
Okay, yes.
I'm loading into the tower now.
You can tell us what's on the wall, or Cyn can tell us. I mean, us longtime players aren't going to know or care what's on the wall, so we have to look so we can give you that answer.
Yeah, I think, I have stuff in my inventory.
I know a couple that are there, but...
Anarchy, I'm sure, is there.
Yeah.
If you don't have it, definitely Anarchy would be one of them. Let me load up and I'll tell you here in a second.
We're getting responses in the chat, but let's actually look so we can give our answer.
All right. So I would do Sleeper.
Can you list everything that's there, or is there tons?
Yeah, there's from the Red War, you have Sturm, Mida, Rat King, Sleeper, World Line Zero, Polaris Lance, Whisper of the Worm, Outbreak Perfected, Legend of Agrias. I mean, Outbreak, Whisper, Rat King if you want to have a little fun, but Sleeper, I would say Whisper, Sleeper, and Outbreak out of the Red War.
No, I would only say Outbreak for those. Not that Sleeper isn't good, but there's always almost other linear fusions that are better than it.
Yeah, I
But
mean, you
anyways,
have Forsaken, you got Ace of Spades, The Last Word, Lemonarch, Jotun, Izanagi's Burden, Thorn, Lumina, Truth, Bad Juju, Anarchy, Teraba. You have the Always On Time Sparrow. I would definitely say Anarchy out of that list.
definitely
Maybe
Anarchy. Maybe
let Lemonarch if you
yeah.
want something from for something for PvP. That's still kind of nasty.
And Izanagi's pretty good, but there's a lot of good snipers. Izanagi's just it does hit hard if you do that 4-shot together thing. But and Thorn is a
Right.
lot of fun, but since we can keep this down to 5, I probably can't include that on the list.
Right. So Shadowkeep, you got Leviathan's Breath, Ariana's Vow, Bastion, Symmetry, Devil's Ruin, Tommy's Matchbook, The Fourth Horseman, Wither Horde, and Ruinous Effigy, and Traveler's Chosen. Wither Horde for sure on that one.
Obviously, Bastion and Wither Horde for that. That's easy. Yep.
Yeah. And you have Beyond Light exotics. There's only a couple here. Duality, Tiku's Divination, Cryosthesia, Lawrence Driver, and Ager's Scepter. Lawrence Driver for the PvP players. I think still you might see that occasionally, probably not as much anymore since they brought that down a little bit. Maybe Duality if you like a little shotgunning. I wouldn't say anything top there for me.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm trying to remember if I had 5 already picked out or if I was at 4. But none of those were like as exciting.
Yeah, you have Witch Queen exotics were the Grand Overture, Trespasser, and Delicate Tomb. Lightfall exotics are listed because if you pre-purchase, you can get Quicksilver Storm. So I would definitely say, Outbreak, Sleeper, top.
But again,
there.
I do want to like call out not like a big thing, but why are people saying sleeper when sleeper's never the best option for the longest time now?
It's not the best option, but it's fun to use.
Because it's fun, but there's so many,
and it was still putting up consistent damage for those who don't have a good roll on a linear fusion rifle. It packs a punch and it'll do just fine.
But it's easier to get a linear fusion rifle than it is sleeper. It's cheaper too. You can go to you can get a Taipan crafted from the Enclave easier and cheaper than sleeper. So again, I'm just saying, if we have to limit it down to 5, I'm not saying sleeper's no good, but I'm just saying limit it to 5. Are people actually using sleeper over other? You know what I mean?
I wouldn't say they're using it, but best bottom. He's sneaking in there.
And I was going to have an after show, but no problem coming in right now. Tell us your thoughts, Kato.
Cyn is wrong on sleeper.
I used it for the longest time when I didn't have a good roll. No. So yes,
there is no excuse for not having a good roll.
Yeah, because again, the Enclave with Taipan.
I got you, but until my Taipan was to the point where it had an enhanced firing line on it, I didn't really use it. There was no point. I'd just much rather use sleeper.
Oh, even before that, there was other linears that were better than sleeper that I'm sure you had some good roll of.
I mean, I have a Storm Chaser and
no, what was the one? Storm Chaser if you know how to do that thing. But what was the one? And I'm not talking about like really old school.
Cataclysmic.
Yeah, Cataclysmic. But there was also
Reed's
Regret. I had a
Reed's Regret.
Reed's. That's it.
Anyways,
yeah.
Especially, and then we had the one from last season, and we have one this season that are craftable. It may not be ideal rolls, but they're going to be on par with sleeper damage, so you can run a different exotic.
The thing that the main point, I just don't want to give bad information. Like if someone's new to the game, and exotics are such a precious thing. So if you're using sleeper for your exotic, you can't use an exotic any other slot. So not only you're doing less DPS than other linear fusions, but you're taking away an exotic. So it's hard. I know sleeper's great, and I will always have love for sleeper in D1. That is Destiny 1 ended with that. That is the weapon to use in a lot of raids. We use sleeper as our main DPS in D1.
Pretty much everywhere.
Yep. Mm-hmm. But that's D1 Cyn.
Speaking of, doesn't Kato need to jump into the D1 campaign soon?
Yes. We'll get it going. He sounds so excited.
Something like that.
He's sighing, but muted his sigh.
Yeah. Well, I feel like we should have. We don't have to leave. Let's have a Guardian Hub After Dark show. But I did want to give a quick shout out to. We have a review for our podcast.
Another one
from Dorath, which Dorath has joined our clan and Patreon recently. Or at least the clan. I'm not sure on the Patreon. Sorry about that. But anyways, gives it 5 stars. Awesome. Love the show. The information is great and to the point. Makes a great listen while I'm working. Thank you, Dorath. We really appreciate that.
I do appreciate that. And what I get out of that is he likes 1 hour podcast versus 3.
Well,
That's
he
what
can
I
get
get out
even
of that.
he can get even shorter ones than ours. Destiny Digest. Shout out to them, to Danfinity.
We're the eyes or else.
I mean, we're long compared to Destiny Digest.
Oh yeah. Comparatively speaking.
Yeah. All right. Well, anything else for the main show before we close up? Let's see our chat here. Signed, sealed, and delivered from Drafty. How you doing, Drafty?
4 plus stars.
Yeah. Yeah, this was just kind of a miscellaneous show, but we really appreciate everyone who still showed up last minute. We didn't know when we were going to record, so kind of a last minute thing. But we will sign off here. Stick around for Guardian Hub After Dark, which Cyn may or may not add some into the show. You know, that sometimes happens after the ending credit. But you that are around live can hear the real Guardian Hub After Dark.
RNG, I take offense to the negative 1.5 stars, especially since I called you out as favorite mod there.
Whoa.
I'm gonna need in GDC, not
They
here.
were mod in GDC, not in Guardian
Yeah,
Hub.
yeah. I'm gonna need you to retract that statement there.
Yeah.
You're not a mod in GDC, Kato.
I know.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the shenanigans I would get into?
Yeah, that'd be
All
fun.
channels deleted. You would leave general, and that would be it.
Maybe.
Hey, I'm working on that. Give me a break.
Oh boy. Rodimus, how's it going? See, if Rodimus can't do
Good.
it, I don't think anyone can. So
Just remember, Kato, you don't ask for it if you don't want it. To be a mod in GDC, I promise.
I'd give it like an hour or two, and then I would have all privileges removed.
He would time out everybody who was typing more than one message a day. I'm just going to give these guys a 24-hour timeout. I'm going to delete this channel. I'm going to archive this one. I'm going to do this. I'm going to take this person's mod status away.
all right, let's go to real Guardian Hub After Dark. But let's real quick, Cyn, where can people find you, good sir?
They can find me all across the tower or on Twitter at Cyn_media or in the Discord next to you and Des. Des, we miss you. Come
Yes.
back next week.
You can find
Wait.
Des. Yes, as
Go
Des.
ahead.
As
ahead.
Des. What's the name right now?
I think it's still Des
Des Turkey. Yep, in the Discord.
Yep.
And were you going to say
then-
something else?
Yes. Kingsley Revision 0. Take us out.
You can find me as Kingsley Mac all the places, including Twitter now. You can find our show on Twitter as The Guardian Hub or our lovely website, theguardianhub.com.
The best hub on the net.
Thank you, Cyn. Thank you, everyone else, for coming in at the last second. And we will catch you all again next week. Have a good one.
See you in After Dark.
Shenanigans at the very end. I love it.
All right. Let the floodgates open.
And if anyone wants to talk, okay, Drafty raised his hand, invite to speak. So you don't have to see the people that come in on their own have either ambassador or things like that. But if anyone wants to talk, you can raise your hands in the audience because Guardian Hub After Dark is open to anyone.
I had the ability, and then I fucked it up, and somebody took it from me.
What?
Well, whose fault is that?
Mine.
Rodimus.
You just had a fun. We were testing your. See, you were never an official ambassador. We had a different role name for you. Remember?
Yeah. Yes.
And it was a test role. It didn't work out. Doesn't mean we won't put you as an ambassador ever, but we'll just
Oh,
put that on
I'd be
hold for
happy to
now.
have that roll back, just without the privileges.
Ambassador with quotation marks around ass.
If you want to give me the roll back without the
We need to talk about
privileges,
this whole
that's
favorite.
understandable.
Sid, we need to talk about this whole favorite mod and GDC thing now, though.
See you, thumbs.
Yeah. Bye,
Well,
thumbs.
although I'm your favorite Titan, so I'll give you that.
You both Titans. How does this work?
Yes. We're each other's favorites.
I mean, I'm a Titan too, so
Uh-oh.
Sounds like a three-way to me.
I don't think there's enough brain cells to go around there.
Too many
Titan,
crowns.
Hunter, Warlock. So.
Just remember, Kato's at the bottom of the pile.
I know. The best bottom on the net. You're welcome.
You know, that
How
was
did that
supposed
start?
to be your name. Thank you
I
very
know.
much.
It was.
Yeah, it didn't even make sense when I saw it.
There was a
Oh, you
lot
had
of
to be in the
shenanigans.
After Dark raid the other night.
Oh, it was a lot of fun.
Well, yeah, I know. I figured, but just looking at it would have made more sense if he was actually listed on the bottom of who was in the chat.
And it had to do with sparrows.
Oh, okay.
You see,
Cyn was
Sparrows.
humping Kato's
Yeah.
sparrow.
Yep.
Pretty much.
much.